Quake land back in like Quake 1, I believe, and it's predominantly Spanish players too. And we did see, you know, players like Slip and Sombra in the duel as well, and also were just not quite able to make it into the land setting. But myztro, they did lose narrowly to Wait For Us, and they're going to want to have their run back as well. But here we go, it's going to be map number 1, Burial Chamber. And once more, those champion compositions are very traditional. The only thing that may not be traditional was the Ranger pick from Garpy.
So these first 40 seconds are going to be crucial, because within that 40 seconds, you'll have the first soul at 20 and the first power up at about 40, 45 seconds-ish. So, you know, you want to get as much as possible, putting that acid on the floor, just trying to put that area denial down. But it's safer for Solak to try and go in, because it doesn't get affected by the acid. Sombra's going to fall down here to the acid damage over time. But Naves is going to go to pick that one up anyway. But no, Hell is going to finish him up. And Derrison looks like one by one, myztro are getting the soul, but FaZe is just taking them out one at a time. Oh, barely. You heard that gauntlet getting revved, right? You heard it being just millimeters away.
That was incredibly close. But myztro, they really are like a unit of a team. And I know that they've had those recent roster swaps, but Hell, by the way, getting that impressive triple with that heavy machine gun quad is an incredibly dangerous weapon to have the quad damage on. 40 damage a shot. The rate of fire it has access to is to be shaking a stick at, that's for sure. But I was about to say that they're a very composed team, and Sacrifice is a mode that the team takes very, very seriously. And as each land goes on, they do start to progressively play a lot better as the weeks pile up. But with their new roster, you're going to see how well will they perform today with the difference in their players.
I actually quite like the way Hell's been playing, though. I mean, just generally, his journey in Quake Champions has been it's been so dramatic, right? Like, he made the top 16 every week in duel, but was never quite able to make the top 8 to qualify for regionals. His team got so far in regionals, almost didn't make worlds, but they were able to do it anyway themselves and make the Quake World Championships, where they had a rough start, but a nice journey through beyond there. And Hell has always been like right there playing at the top level of play, but he just never really achieved that top success. But this could be where he changes that and can make DreamHack.
myztro have had a little bit of a hard time getting things on deck so far. 50% has already climbed up, and it's been quite a fast round too, almost 60% in around 2 minutes. That's not a lot of work myztro have to do with the rest of this round, and wow, good trade.
That was actually a really nice sequence from Razy, getting 2 frags there. You know, do so much lightning gun damage and just quickly just flick over and swap to that rail. That nice little hit. Even though he died for it, it would take 2 for 1, so a good trade. And myztro, look at how much percentage they're already building up. This is crazy.
This could very well be the fastest round that we've seen on the broadcast today. Imagine they've got 30% to make something happen. Even their lineup is very similar to what we did see in QWC. You know, they've got the Knights, they've got the Sombra, they've got the Slip. They're not
Still
quite able to get anything going.
Held is just defending as best he can. That's a rail. He knows he's got a bit of time, but Slip's not going to miss the follow-up. He's surrounded by enemies, and Garpy's going to clean him up there. And still, myztro, 85% almost now, just a few seconds away. Protection is going to be up any second now.
If they get protection, it's game over. If they get protection, it's going to be game. Unfortunately, Nyx, she was able to actually use the telefrag to get protection, but not a lot of health left. So might not be able to do much with it.
I think so. Even though Dreams and Magic were able to get the power up, literally all 8 players in the game at the time all went straight for the power up. Wait, did he just 1v1 someone with protection? Did FaZe just do that? Did he just 1v1 someone with protection?
Not necessarily. It was 2 versus 1, but she was incredibly weak, but almost didn't. Actually, almost got the super shotgun blast to seal the deal there. FaZe is so ridiculously weak and accidentally commits suicide.
I actually think he did that on purpose. Like, as soon as he saw he had full health, he immediately almost looked like he aimed at the wall there to try to get the suicide.
It was either a rocket jump that went skew-if, or it was an intentional suicide to pass on the protection. But either way, they've been able to drop it off at the last possible second, and that point-blank rail from Razy. I mean, just violent right there. That's 100-0. Very convincing round 1.
That was actually quite one-sided. Unfortunately, myztro Gaming they captured it once, and that really was it. Dreams and Magic were unable to capture the obelisk whatsoever. But that can happen sometimes. Just to reiterate, it does take 2.5 minutes to go from 0 to 100 completely. So the fact that that round was 3.5 minutes means that there really wasn't that much additional time on top of that through it being contested or being in transit. It was almost on the obelisk the entire time.
Well, the crazy thing is, you would often expect that Sacrifice is, because it's a team mode and it's, you know, holding a point for X amount of time, you would think it might be slower than duel. But some of these maps, they will actually go faster than certain duel maps. You know, if you have those 3 rounds and you go into a 5th round and everything's close because people are playing that distance-based game and really sort of playing with the clock. If you have 2 dominant rounds on Sacrifice, that's like a 6-minute map, and that's it.
Wow, Razy able to get a bunch of frags there. Going to drop it off again to Obelisk A. This is bad news for Dreams and Magic. They severely struggled to get anything out of this Obelisk last time. And already, myztro 5% and are holding on to it immediately. This is bad news for Dreams and Magic.
You got to be efficient at taking that soul to start with, and it's going to have to be a certain point in the map that every team will have to practice. But Derrison does manage to go on towards the quad, but because it's a quad, you're only going to survive for so long. But Dream's Magic, they've still got the quad damage. They need to make it count. Doesn't quite get the second gauntlet, so Razy gets taken out with that point-blank super shotgun.
A ton of damage coming out from this quad, but this entire time myztro still holding on to the soul. Oh, no, he walks into the plasma trail and hell detonates it. Unfortunately, completely killing himself in the process.
That was so unfortunate. They weren't really able to do a whole lot, even though they had that killing spree, an impressive killing spree with quad damage. They got no percentage whatsoever because myztro still put up the defense.
That is a heartbreaking situation from Dreams of Magic. They had the quad, they had a bunch of frags, but were just, not only were they unable to get a percentage on the board, they didn't even contest it from myztro Gaming, so they just continued to build percentage the entire time.
It's almost 50% in the space of essentially 1.5 minutes. Looking like it's going to be that again. This is so hard for Dreams of Magic to make a comeback, and it's essentially 150% to 0. Like, they haven't got a single ounce of it in this entire map.
I mean, if we see oh my lord, that's so much damage. Oh, another one, Garpy! Shotguns and snipers coming back through now, but I mean, just look at that. So much damage. Derrison, no. There's a couple of frags on the board, managing to contest the soul. And for the first time, they've taken the soul off the obelisk.
But will they get away alive? You can see how quick myztro is sort of putting on that pincer, and hell meeting him with the gauntlet, ready and waiting. And even before getting fragged, he covered a nice amount of distance. Derrison tries to transfer it back. They still haven't dropped off the soul, and Sombra kind of slips off the ledge.
Oh, but Razy has it. Razy always there, waiting in the wings.
And after a mega as well, he's got so much health.
Here's one person waiting for him. Sorlag waiting for Sorlag, can he at least drop it off? Oh, and Nake's running around with the gauntlet, gets 2 kills for that nice play, but looks like FaZe is going to be able to take him down with the gauntlet of his own.
Oh, but after all that work
to recapture it.
After all that work, they still weren't able to, but here comes the power-up. But for one more time, if myztro get this power-up, which they have done, hell has the protection, this is going to be very difficult to push against. Particularly the amount of health and armor that even the Slash has, let alone the rest of the team that are now sitting on this obelisk. They've got 15% left to go with plenty of protection left to use. Oh dear.
Are we actually going to see a 200-0 game? Is that the route we're going at so far? All that area denial, that plasma trail make it so hard to go in. And myztro 95%, and just Dreams of Magic one by one are dropping left, right, and center. And that might actually be 200% to 0. Didn't think it was going to be this one-sided, but they are still here. They have to manage to contest it at least. Oh, dropped it off the map as well. I like that decision.
Yep, he's gone into the reset.
Considering how much they struggled to get their way last time.
They've got to make sure they make this one count. FaZe with the point blank. Oh dear. He's surrounded, he activates the injection. The speed boost is going to help him travel a little bit, denying the mega health from the rest of the competition too. Very important.
I'm quite sure about this though, FaZe getting it dangerously close to Dreams of Magic obelisk.
I think it's because he knows Dreams of Magic are going to pile in on the obelisk, so you know they're unlikely to actually be around that location.
Yes, teammates here.
Oh dear.
Their plasma trail didn't quite paint around the whole thing, and he dropped it off. And there we go, just ever so slightly milliseconds too late to the point. And that is going to be 200% to 0 across those 2 rounds. Very one-sided for myztro Gaming, looking absolutely on fire.
It was actually well calculated at the very last minute there with FaZe, where he acknowledged, well, they're unlikely to be near their own obelisk because they're expecting me to drop it off. He used that time to not only pop his injection, but to then run over and pick up the mega health. Even though he didn't really have much armor, as he went on to that point, he had pretty much so much health, he could essentially just jump straight into that plasma trail, and it didn't matter. He wasn't going to get taken out for free, and he was able to drop it off. And because 1% was all the team needed, I think it was a good decision. I think it was a well-calculated decision. It won their team the entire map.
No, it was a good play, and it was a flawless win in the very end. Literally not a single percentage on the board from Dreams of Magic. But it wasn't like they never contested. They managed to get the soul away a few times. They just couldn't safely get it from point A to point B, which was ultimately the point. But I think a big part of that just came down to myztro looked a lot more confident in the 1v1s. Just those straight-up engagements where it's just, you know, the only thing you got to do here is just win the fight. You've just got to win this shot. You've just got to win this fight between the two. And myztro will consistently get the best there. And it looks like, I think, Razy looking as strong as ever. We know Razy has had a very, you know, I don't want to say zero to hero story because he's always been very powerful, but this last sort of like month or so, he has just exploded in terms of like how good he has been across duels. And even in Sacrifice still looking to be completely on fire, I should say, especially when he's controlling that soul lag, which has kind of been his signature champion for so long now.
And I think considering she's so good in both game modes as well, I think it's not a bad champion to really have a good job with on these two game modes that are both being pushed in the competitive order Quake so far. But we're going into our next map. It's going to be Lockbox as our next map. And this is quite an interesting one. I feel like it's a different version of playing Sacrifice on Lockbox because it's very close quarters. It is non-stop action. There is no downtime. The power-up is in such a crazy focus point. And just to remind everyone, Garpy going in as that sort of flexible champion. On this map, he's gone on with Galena. He did the exact same thing against Wait for us. Didn't quite work out, even though it was a very, very close map. Didn't go in Maestro's favor, but he's sticking with the pick, and I think he's confident in it. On this map in particular, you know, teleporters being as useful as they are, being able to heal a teammate and multiple people is always going to be invaluable on a map like this when you're trying to defend, do damage to them when they try and take the obelisk. But I mean, let's face it, jump pads and teleporters are a #1 way to navigate. And if she can deny those on this map, every teleporter becomes a massive risk. If you're running the soul and you use teleporter and die, you've just lost the entire soul and now the other team has it.
Well, also, something I can imagine would be quite useful here is, you know, on topic of damage of the totems and sort of their utility, the damage they do is significant. And if you've got a squishy champion, like we know that on the side of Dreams of Magic, there's both an Anarchy and a Nyx. If they have no armor, they'll
Slash.
Yeah, if they have no armor, they'll get one shot by the totem, and Slash won't get one shot, but she'll get significantly weakened by it. So if you've got totems at the end of teleporters, if you're like, you know, defending, if you're trying to attack, or you put them around an escape route that an Anarchy is likely to take, that totem is going to maybe one shot him because you don't always have armor in Sacrifice because just how frequently you're fighting and how quickly you might be able to get weakened down. The totems will be very dangerous.
Well, we're 10 seconds away from this warm-up, which means we're going to be going into the game right now. Currently, myztro are looking pretty unstoppable in this series. They took the last map 200% to 0%. Will they continue the rampage? Or is Dreams and Magic going to make magic happen and pull off the miraculous comeback to stay in this tournament? One frag's already gone down. If you get fragged at the very beginning of the map, it's not the end of the world. As long as you're able to respawn by the time the soul has appeared, you're still going to be able to fight for it and help the rest of your team.
The 20 seconds, I should say, is up. Looks like Derison's able to get it through. Hasn't got a lot of health at all, but trying to get it back towards A. This is going to be a safe capture.
Oh!
Yes, it is.
That rocket failing to connect is going to secure that one. But for the first time, they're actually not only get the soul first, but they are starting to climb their own percentage. So they've automatically had a better start. Got a lot of work to do to keep that momentum going, that's for sure.
Still though, 10% is 10% more than they were able to get last time. So, you know, at the very least, they're happy they can at least start this thing off the right way this time.
I'll never get used to those shotgun ragdolls. They are insane.
Oh, it looks like myztro were just basically just foregoing the soul just to try and get that pickup. Now it has to be quad damage.
But it's been 20% in a very short amount of time. I mean, if they're not able to get anything going with this quad damage, or even worse, they go down and allow Dreams and Magic to take it, then they may allow this lead to continue.
They are winning these sort of fights here and there at the moment. They do still have a little bit of quad left. That's going to be a frag onto Sombra. One person here trying to deny, but is he going to be able to get the frag in time?
Trying to get
all of Dreams of Magic, I should say, are following in quite close behind. No, they have been stopped from going in. myztro were able to position themselves properly.
Now, plenty of members of myztro have a rail, and they're defending the point, which is super, super important. You know, you've got so much vision from the back of this obelisk towards the rest. You can keep people at arm's reach, doing so much damage. By the time they actually close in that gap, they're not really healthy enough to take the fight, and let alone take the obelisk.
Still though, you were saying before about if myztro weren't able to take the soul away with that quad, they would have been in a bad situation. I mean, in just as quickly, myztro almost tying this thing up. Raising in now, ready to defend, and Hell and Garpy too getting all the frags. This is kind of what happened last time. Once myztro were able to just set up a defense, Dreams of Magic just could not siege in at any point. And the power-up's not going to be up for another 40 seconds. So Dreams of Magic kind of going in one at a time right now. One, maybe two. They just aren't quite going in with the same level of teamwork we're seeing from myztro.
They have the soul. Can they get away with it? It's looking unlikely.
Hell has it. He's going to try and pass it back to his friend. Yes, he does. And there it is, recaptured again. And the totem on the point, waiting to heal up an ally or stop Dreams of Magic from just piling in, trying to take it back as fast as they can. And just like that, myztro Gaming up now with quite a significant lead.
But here comes the power-up. The next fight, Dreams of Magic, they're piling in, they're dedicating every physical body.
Oh no, oh, hang on a minute. Derison's able to win that one, and Hell gets the protection again. Hell has been doing beautiful things with the protection so far. Another frag. myztro still holding on to it too.
Oh, two health. I mean, he's not going to lose this fight. He's just taken way too much health to get taken out, and just the one-man army. That's one thing Hell does superbly well in this game mode, is his knowledge of when and where to go in. to make sure he can secure a power-up for himself. Most of the time on the myztro roster, if someone gets protection or someone gets power-up, it's probably going to be Hell, especially on this map.
Still though, one thing that seems very difficult to deal with protection is when you kill someone and they drop armor shards, even a little tiny bit of armor you get from armor shards. When it's someone with protection, that alone will keep them alive in a 1v1. When it's someone like Hell that has that mobility and is willing to take those fights, it's so dangerous. Now though, this is much better for Dreams of Magic. They are here in force. The majority of them are here trying to take this back. Someone trying to poke away damage from a distance. We're seeing a few rails. So the 85%, they need to take this away now.
Oh no! FaZe was able to just navigate that minefield of nails and get the rocket in return. And because of that, they weren't able to get the soul by any degree. They've got 10% left, and myztro will take this third round in a row in this series. They're looking pretty unstoppable so far.
They are looking good. Derison able to get the soul, but a lot of work left to do. 94% to 27. Dreams Magic are going to have to hold this on for a long time, but Razy doesn't even let him do it. Oh, and there we go. Razy juking in the acid. Sorlag being immune to its damaging effects. Actually, putting it to good use there.
It helps Sorlag a lot more.
The acid, right? That's
yeah. It helps Sorlag a lot more on this map than the other maps because it's not just another Sorlag's acid that she doesn't take damage from. It's going to be the acid on the map as well.
Still then once again, Dreams of Magic, they have no choice. They try to go in, but myztro getting that 100%. That was a clean turnaround at the very end. myztro, they were down for the first couple of minutes, but one capture is all they needed. It looks like Dreams of Magic having a much harder time to just get it attacking an obelisk than defending one they have.
The only percentage Dreams of Magic were able to seize in that map was when they dropped it off first, but the second they dropped it off, myztro pretty much gave up that initial push on the obelisk just to take power up. But it was taking the power up that allowed them to seize the obelisk, take it back pretty effortlessly, and then they essentially held it for 100-0. So if they get the soul first, Dreams of Magic, I mean, they need to just make some sort of adjustment. You know, there needs to be a solution here, and they have to do it because this could be their final round.
I actually really like that fight from Razy there, though. Realizing that he was getting shot with a machine gun, so it was unlikely to have any other weapon. So yeah, he just picked up the lightning gun and then forced the fight immediately. Sombra, though, losing the soul, but Nate's still here. Oh, but he is surrounded this time. Looks like myztro doing a much better job of trying to stop it, but ultimately it's still going to be won by Dreams Magic. But no, another one! Two of them in the way. FaZe goes down, though. Slip. So likely drop it off.
Oh no, he put in
just able
so much work. He put in so much effort to try and take that. He got 3 kills and almost got 1 more, but just half a second away from getting that drop off and wasn't able to do it. Garpy with the defense.
Still though, Dreams Magic, they did get a few % on it at the very least. So he was able to...
They have quad too. They were able to get power up also.
They were able to take the obelisk they wanted at the very least, but myztro have looked on the... actually almost like maybe better on obelisk B at the moment.
So it's going to be Razy with quad damage and the soul. I mean, he's going to be very difficult.
That is quad sounds like it's on its way out at the very least, so quad shouldn't be that much of a deciding factor for much longer. Might get 1 or 2 frags with it, but... more. Yeah, Derison's going to fall, but he seems to be quite weak anyway.
I actually quite like that of Razy, running outside of the base just to try and make sure you get at least 1 frag with the remaining quad damage. I mean, it is going to keep them, even if it's going to be by a few seconds, it will keep them back.
Look at what's happened, right? It's given myztro a few seconds to position themselves. Now all 4 of them are here, ready to defend. And their defense has been their strongest point so far. Dreams of Magic just have not been confident in assaulting their obelisk so far. And just even 3 backflips.
Very impressive.
10 points for that one. Oh, a lot of damage coming through. Razy quite weak. But he knows he's done a lot of damage at this point. Ooh, Derison barely alive. Oh, and Nix with that nice rail from a mile away. Gonna do good things there. 3 of them full. That should be at least a capture away, but can they get it safely back? Looks like myztro
went under
position. Razy trying to stop him, and the acid would have done it at the very least. Sombra trying to get away, taking a lot of damage here, ticking down.
Unfortunately, able to make that navigation all the way back because Hell, the OG, if you're going to be sort of going in for those, that's the dangerous thing. The lightning gun just keeps you stuck in your tracks. And if you're going to be a Sorlag or you're going to be a champion that has sort of used jumping a big part of their maneuverability, as is the way in Quake, it will just keep you stuck there and just push you back, stop any amount of speed you've got, and then that's it. You're dead. You can't really do much about it. But there's not much you can do to stop that in this situation. You have to just sort of dedicate to it and hope that either you win the 1v1 or that they miss.
Also, do you see how much damage that totem just did there?
Yep,
Garpy putting that one totem there. Ugh. 1 nails will need to follow up. That was really good. Sombra, though, making to capture this off. So Dreams of Magic able to build up a little bit, but again, yeah, they were able to capture.
And it's Hell with the protection 1 more time.
But that's sort of what I was really getting at there is Dreams of Magic able to take the soul away when myztro abandoned the soul in favor of getting the power up, and it's worked well for them again, as again, Hell has it, and the protection.
He's going to take so many rails before he goes down.
Still though, 7 health, even for someone protection will die here.
Oh!
And he does just in time, but Nake's drops immediately. And myztro ready to pick up the protection and the soul. And now it's Garpy that has the majority of the protection left, actually.
And a totem remaining. So if he gets this frag, he's able to save the totem to not only heal himself and his team, but just they try and take the soul, they're going to have to run right on top of it and take that 75 damage. And there it is.
Oof! But Nake's behind again, trying to run in. Gonna trade out that frag for frag, but again, trading a frag when one team is holding the obelisk and you aren't, that is 100% going to be in myztro's favor. Crazy trying to get a nice rail from the distance. He knows he's surrounded here. You see that Dreams of Magic are here in numbers. He needs his team to follow up soon. Looks like Hell is getting here too. They are contesting it.
It's taken him quite a while to do it though. A couple of kills come through. I don't think they're going to be able to get away, and no, they are not. myztro with another drop-off.
Well, they were able to quite quickly come back. That really is what that boiled down to. myztro they're working as a team so fast. Like, if they need to be somewhere as a unit, they're there immediately.
It's good communication, good team comms. Such a valuable asset to have.
Speaking of those, Slip's going to get a nice frag there with the acid. Wishing nowhere really there to run for FaZe, but still going to do well. myztro Gaming, I should say, almost 90% and climbing. Every single percent, every second counts now. 4.5 minutes in, myztro a just colossal lead. 8%, 7%. Every second that goes down, this could be more and more difficult for Dreams of Magic to make the comeback. myztro 97, this might be all she wrote. This might be all they need. 1% left to go. They are contesting, but just outnumbered, completely outnumbered. Derison's going to fall, goes in with the gauntlet. And FaZe, there's a suicide, but Razy with the super shotgun, that one frag might have just sealed the deal. Can they get there in time? Are they there?
I mean, they've got 1% left and FaZe just took the quad damage. Even though he didn't need it, that would have been a guaranteed win either way. I mean, they're going to move on very comfortably in this lower bracket. That was not a qualification match, but it has put